So we're in Sarah's front yard, and actually they have a lot of mature landscaping here, which sometimes is the hardest, is when you have to work with what you've already got.
Well, exactly. And look at these beautiful big aspen trees. The size of
love
these
the
tells
color.
you what?
You know, aspen trees, as beautiful and as fast growing as they are, they're also short-lived.
Exactly. And these are getting to be some fairly old trees as far as aspen years go. And I'm thinking in the next 5 to 10 years, these are going to start to deteriorate.
Yeah,
So she has that to look forward to.
She's going to have to be prepared to cut those down right away. But right now, that white bark, you know, as much as they can be trouble, I love these trees because they grow fast.
But they do make a lot of shade, and these poor little mugos down here are already stretching for light. So I'm thinking her best bet would be to take out those nasty little scallopy things around the edge and create kind of a shade garden under here. Maybe go native.
Go native.
Go native. What would normally grow under aspen trees in the mountains?
Well, you know what though? You can do a lot of the native stuff, but I also like things like, you know, lamium because of the contrast in color, the variegation, you know, the fact it'll bloom. But yeah, a little shade garden out here would be fun, and we have a lot of shade here because a lot of mature trees. So you could start that theme up front and kind of carry it through the yard. Well, and you know, while we're still here, what we're going to have to talk about throughout the yard is all this grass. She's got a lot of leaves, and we were just talking. I was out at Scott's, and what the researchers found is take on a dry day. You don't want to mow when it's
too wet now.
But you just take your lawnmower over the lawn a few times and mulch up those leaves, and it'll actually put some nutrients back into the soil. So you don't have to. You leave them. You don't want to leave.
Don't bag them.
Yeah, you don't have to leave you don't want a blanket of leaves, but you can leave the quantity of leaves we're looking at. You can leave those right on the yard to turn into nutrients.
And it's late in the season, so I'm going to suggest no aerating, no winterizer. It's just too late.
It is.
So it'll save her a little time and money that way.
I'm all about that. So let's check out this rest of the area because I think we've got this covered.
Okay, let's go.
So this is Sarah's, the very front of the house, and there's some mature plants and some stuff to work with. But my favorite spot about here is this potential of this secret garden area.
What would you do there?
You know, I would really like to see like a specimen plant or maybe a little garden, like a little waterfall feature, just so when people come up here, they're inspired and they pause once they get to these steps.
Well, and you'd also want to do some night lighting.
Well, especially because we've got these big columns.
Exactly.
Shining the lights up on those will just enhance the house and the overall appearance.
And then this area right here, I love this because there's really not much going on here. So this could easily be turned into a spot for some annual color.
Well, we also talked about a great place, and you could probably still find them, are some fall bulbs. So in spring, before you can even plant the annuals, you've got some surprises of some bursts of color popping up in February and March.
And then I love this big spruce tree right here. It gives her lots of privacy for her front entrance. And it's got all of its branches all the way to the ground, which is the way they're supposed to stay.
Do you have an opinion about this?
Yes.
Evergreen trees do not need to be pruned.
They get embarrassed when their ankles are exposed, so let's leave the branches all the way to the ground.
I love this holly. The glossy foliage on the leaves just really pops off the house.
Well, and it's green all year round, so she's got 12-month interest. And I think I'd bring it over to the other side of the sidewalk too.
Well, and it'll tie everything in and make everything flow nicely. So we've got some issues in the backyard, and the concolor fir, one of them's hers, but one of them's not.
Well, the one that we're going to go right by the gate over here, that's going to cause some issues in a few years, so we're going to have to address that.
All right, well, let's go take a look.
All right. Well, here's that concolor MJ I was talking about. It's already starting to get a little tight in this area with the concolor on this side, and what is this, a viburnum?
It looks like it.
No, it's a lilac.
Look at the pruning that's
yeah, see, they've already really butchered this poor thing to try to keep it down, and it's just growing right back. So this is a real good example of wrong plant in the wrong place. Which one would you keep?
Well, this is the neighbor's. So I kind of think we better be neighborly, especially since she's a new neighbor. So this is going to have to stay. I think this needs to go. It's blocking the meter anyway. So this is probably going to have to go out, and we're going to have to just prune this as it continues to grow.
But that's the best you can do because it's a tree worth keeping.
All right, let's check out the rest of the yard.
All right, here we go. Look at this area along here. It's one of those wasted areas along the side of the house that nobody ever sees.
Well, and Sarah was talking about the desire to maybe have a vegetable garden here. And right now it appears to have some sunlight, but by the large neighbor's trees that are next to us.
There's a locust and a ash tree here, and plus this concolor fir.
I don't know.
That's going to be pretty shady in the summer.
It's going to be really shady. And that's the hard part with the yard is you almost have to have an entire growing season to completely understand all the conditions you're going to have so you know what you can have growing, what you can't.
Yeah. Now, she could probably get away the first year with planting some things like lettuce and spinach and peas that aren't real sun hogs. But I don't think I'd try to start tomatoes,
peppers,
and squash over here.
No, they won't. They just won't have enough space.
And then, of course, this grass area here serves as the pathway to the backyard, which means that this narrow strip of grass is going to get all the traffic. It's not going to be spread out over a larger area. So aerating this area spring and fall is going to be pretty important to keep this grass healthy.
Yeah, so it doesn't get too condensed and too thick.
Too compacted.
Well, let's keep going because one of the things we have to look at is this lilac. So Keith, one of the things that's happened is we've seen here is that they've attempted to do a lot of pruning, and this lilac is an example.
This poor lilac, it's seen better days, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah, it needs to be what I would call a rejuvenation pruning. It needs to have that done to it in the spring before it leaves out. Best thing you can do is just take a chainsaw, cut it to the ground, and it will rejuvenate with all nice fresh stems, and in a year or so or two it'll bloom again.
Yeah, with great new healthy foliage. And then this bed.
What a mess.
What do you say about that?
I'd say let it green up in the spring, see what you've got. I don't think there's going to be anything there worth keeping from what I can see right now.
Well, it's not growing in healthy manners. The right plants, right place thing is not going on here.
Just kill it all out. Go through.
Good
You don't know
weed
what
killer.
you don't know
Spray
when
it all.
you don't know when it was had any kind of soil prep done to it or what's been done in the past. So kill it all out. Start from scratch. Put in some compost. Do the soil prep and then replant.
And you know the best part about that, it's really fun to start with a completely clean palette.
It is, and you've got these beautiful windows here from the living room looking down here. So this would be a great place to put some tall things like hollyhocks and so forth that can be seen from inside.
Sarah, I think, has started a hot pot of water for us, so would you like to join me inside for some tea?
For some tea, that would be great, and we could review some of our past shows.
That's right, when we get back on Dig In.